testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please state your full name for the record?
Eric Leonard Walker,
Sir, where do you currently live?
2926 Tampa Street.
Is that where you lived back in May of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you lived there?
I've been there 7 years.
Okay. Well, sir, I'd like to turn your attention to May the 6th of 2022, around 3:08 a.m.
Yes.
What were you doing around that time?
We was hanging out in the yard, gambling, hanging, smoking, you know, family things.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you please get the microphone a little bit closer?
Okay.
And make sure it's on. Is it on? Is the green light on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you were just hanging out with other people.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know do you remember the people you were hanging out with?
It was several of us, a whole gang of us, because, like I say, with that spot we hang out and be us.
Okay. And while you were spending time with other people, hanging out, what, if anything, of significance happened?
Well, we was walking towards the gate, coming out the gate, and it was a gunshot that caught our attention.
Okay.
So after the gunshot, we heard a few more. So a few more shots.
Yes.
So I got on the bicycle to circle the block to see what was going on.
Okay.
So as I got to the Highland and Florida, Nebraska, which is a dead end, I come down, because it's right by a house. You could yell across the gate.
Okay.
And I see somebody, a girl, laying on the side. So I yell and tell her I think it's a body back here. So I try to get help for her, running to door, trying to get help.
Did you have a cell phone?
I didn't have a cell phone at the time,
Okay.
so I had to go back because nobody would answer the doors. But I was on the Ring cameras at people's houses.
Okay.
I think they called the police on me because I was knocking too hard.
Okay.
So I went back to get help for somebody to call 911 with me.
So who did you go to get help?
I went and got Terry, one of my friends, Maddox.
Okay. And how far away would you say she was from where you saw the body?
After both of us got there, we was at the road. We was standing in the road first before the 911 operator asked, could we go up there and see if she's alive?
Okay.
But now one of us wouldn't do it.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Would you say that from the time that you heard the 911 call, the shots, to the time you made the 911 call, there was a bit of a delay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'd say it was probably like 5 to 6 minute delay because I had to come back around to go get some help.
Okay, but you don't really know, did you have a watch? Were you paying attention to the time frame?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but you do know that there was a delay,
Yeah,
correct?
it was a delay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you saw this individual, did you recognize her as someone that you had seen before in the area?
I speculated it was one of the girls that be round there. You feel me? So
You speculated,
yeah,
but did you recognize the
no,
individual?
I didn't recognize her
Okay.
at all.
So you had never seen her
No,
before?
I never got up close to the girl until the 911 operator asked to try to get up there and see if she living.
Okay, so while you make the 911 call, how do you get about the position where you make the 911 call? Was it Terry Maddox's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did she make the call or did you make the call?
She made the call.
Okay.
I was still knocking on doors as
Okay.
she was making the call.
But ultimately, did you chime in and also speak during that 911 call and give more information to the 911 officer?
Yeah, because she was on speakerphone. She had
Okay.
the phone on speaker, and I could hear the operator.
Okay.
Like I say, she was trying to see if one of us would go up there to see if she was alive but now one of us would do it.
But did you get closer and determine that she was not responsive?
I didn't get that close. You feel me? I just stepped right on the grass line, right outside the road. That's
Okay.
it.
And sir, this location, this Florida, Nebraska, and Highland, is that in Hillsborough County?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Or actually, yes. Have I shown you photographs from the crime scene, sir?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, do you recognize these, the images in these photographs?
Yes,
Are they a fair and accurate representation of the location that you went to on
Yes.
May the 6th?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would move into evidence State Exhibit A1 through 8.
Any objection?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Publishing State Exhibit A1. Is this the location that you went to, Florida, Nebraska, and Highland?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you describe that location for us?
Yeah, it's on the dead end. It's on the dead end. It's one house on the left hand side. Then it's an open field.
So it was like just an empty lot?
Yeah, just empty lot.
Okay. So State Exhibit A2, is this an accurate depiction of this empty lot area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. A3, is this how you found the body?
Yes, ma'am.
A4,
Yes, ma'am.
in the time in which you saw this body and went back to get someone who had a phone, did the movement of was the body moved in any way?
No, ma'am. She
Okay.
was still the same.
She remained in that exact same
Yes, ma'am.
position?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Did you tamper with any evidence in this case?
No, ma'am.
Did you move the body in any way?
No, ma'am.
Did you touch this body or shove this body?
No, ma'am.
Okay. State Exhibit A5. Okay. Again, is this another angle?
Yes, ma'am.
Getting a little closer.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
State Exhibit A7.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's get it clear. Okay. Okay. Did you have anything to do with the death of this individual?
No, ma'am.
And beyond hearing the gunshots and getting on your bike and looking to see if someone was injured, did you have any other involvement in this?
No, ma'am.
And after you called 911, did you stay on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you give a statement to the initial officers when they asked you what you saw and what you heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Terry Maddox stay on scene and do the same?
Yes, ma'am.
Later on, did detectives arrive on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they also interview you?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it recorded to
Yes.
your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you completely cooperate with the process?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time, on May the 6th of 2022, were you in a wheelchair?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So at the time, you could walk, you could ride your bike, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And at the time when you got on your bicycle and went into this location and saw this body, were there multiple people just
No.
around this body?
No,
Okay.
ma'am. The only one that showed up was the police, and we pointed
Okay.
where it was.
And that's all, to your knowledge, that's all the involvement When the police arrived, then people started showing up.
Yeah,
Is
started
that
coming
correct?
out the door. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But before then, there were no civilians?
No civilians.
Okay. All right, Your Honor, may I have a moment?
You may.
All right, no further questions.
Thank you.
Hi, good
Hello.
Mr. Walker, you have no relation to Ronnie Walker. Is
No,
that
ma'am.
Right, just happen to have the same last name. Wanted to make that
Yeah,
clear.
yes, ma'am.
You're in a wheelchair today because you've had knee surgery.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you said you were kind of hanging out with some friends near where you live when you heard the gunshots.
Yes, ma'am.
This area at that time of night, we're talking sometime around or after 3 o'clock a.m., there's quite a few people out and about. Is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
And in fact, the reason why you hopped on your bike to go around the corner is because you wanted to check and make sure it was nobody that you knew that got hurt.
Well, that's not the question. What caught my attention was the gunshot.
Of course. but
Okay.
After you heard the gunshots, you wanted to make sure that no one that you knew was involved.
Right.
Okay. And that's when you happened to come upon the young lady that was on the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you first saw her, tell me if I'm wrong, but would it have taken you, let's say, less than 5 minutes from where you heard the gunshots to the time that you actually go and see her?
Well, I traveled a couple of blocks over. You
Okay.
feel me? Just make the round back to where my area.
Okay, so we're talking a couple of blocks and you're on your bike.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you try and get some help. Nobody will answer the door for you.
Yes, ma'am. I tried to get the help first. I started knocking on doors. My bicycle was in the middle of the street. You feel me?
Sure.
Okay, I started knocking on doors. Nobody would come to the door. All you see was lights coming
Right.
on. You feel me?
Okay. And that's when you decided to go back and get Miss Maddox?
Just get somebody else to help me.
And then when you went back to the scene with Miss Maddox, were you both on bikes at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so again, just a couple of minutes from that couple of blocks over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all in all, the time between when you heard the gunshots to the time that you called 911 or Miss Maddox calls 911, what is the time frame that we're looking at?
I say I give it like 5 to 8 minutes.
Okay. Can I have a moment, Your Honor? All right, nothing further. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Okay.
Can you read that?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, sir, today, is that the first time that you've had an opportunity to speak to me and Ms. Dunker?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to listen to the 911 call?
No, ma'am.
Or watch any of the body worn camera?
No, ma'am.
Or to be fresh in the time frame in this case?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So if the evidence is that at 3:08 the gunshots were fired and the 911 call comes in at 3:58.
Objection, can we approach Your Honor?
Come on up.
So you have been asked a lot about timing, and is it safe to say that on the day you didn't check your watch, correct?
No, ma'am.
You didn't ask the deputies, hey, what time is it? How long have I been riding around or anything?
No, ma'am.
So the time frame that we have is that the shots were fired at 3:08, and the 911 call that you ultimately got Terry Maddox to make was 3:58.
Okay.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're just doing the best you can.
Yes, I was just trying to get her some help. That's it.
Okay. But you acknowledge that you heard the shots, you talked to other people, is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't talk to nobody but Terry and the police.
Okay.
Well, when I went back to get them, I told people, I think it's somebody around.
Okay.
That was it.
All right. And then ultimately you then had to look for someone to help you with the phone.
To go with me to help me.
All right. So there was, in fact, a delay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so when you use words like a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, you're just doing the best you can to give a time frame. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
Free to go, sir. You stop talking about the case until it's over.
Yes, ma'am, sir. Okay. All right, thank you.
State, you call your next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would call Abby Pittner. Officer Abby Pittner.
Oh, come on, I don't do that. Don't go. I'll take pictures with you. Don't do that.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, I do. Thank you.
Whenever you're ready, counsel.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, my first name is Abby, my last name is Pittner.
Okay. And where do you work?
I work for the Tampa Police Department
How long have you worked with the Tampa Police Department?
for 4 years.
What does your job entail?
Currently, I'm a field training officer. I primarily answer calls for service, conduct proactive activity, as well as training our new recruits.
Okay. Well, I'd like to turn your attention to May the 6th, 2022. Were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
In what capacity?
I was a patrol officer assigned to Zone 2, Sector F, District 3.
And what does that mean? What's the location?
Yes, so Zone 2 was my assigned area. I was responsible for covering calls, any kind of incidents that would come out in that area were my responsibility.
What is that area?
That area is Tampa Heights, so it's near Armature Works, south of MLK.
Okay. Well, I'd like to turn your attention to about 3:58 a.m. Was there a call for service that came in?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And based on that, what, if anything, did you do?
It came out in Zone 2, which, as I said, I was responsible for. So I was assigned to that call, and I made my way to the area of the call.
Okay. And about what time would you say you arrived at the area?
I arrived a little after 4. I believe it was around 4:03 a.m.
And were you the first officer to arrive?
Yes, I was.
Where exactly did you respond to?
So I responded to, I believe it was the 100 block of West Florabraska. It's Florabraska and Highland.
Okay. And is that in Hillsborough County?
Yes, it is.
When you arrived there, what, if anything, did you come in contact with anybody?
Yes, I did.
Who did you come in contact with?
I came in contact with our complainants for the original 911 call, which was Miss Maddox and Mr. Walker.
Eric Walker. that we
Yes,
just
Eric
saw.
Walker.
Okay. And when you came in contact with Eric Walker, what, if anything, did he do?
So I asked them to point me in the direction where they needed me, where they had observed the subject lying or the victim lying, and they pointed me in the direction of an empty lot.
Okay. And when you came in contact with Eric Walker, what was his general demeanor?
He definitely seemed agitated to me, maybe a little bit flustered or stressed.
Okay.
He was kind of pacing back and forth. I would say he was probably a little loud, which I view as an indicator of stress.
Okay. All right. And how about Terry Maddox?
She was very, very anxious, very agitated. Her face was red, glassy eyes as if she'd been crying. She was unable to sit still, kind of frantic.
Okay. So basically, to your point, did they seem surprised, shocked, upset?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so based on this, did you go to the location that they pointed out to you?
Yes, I did.
And what did you observe?
So the area where they directed me to was about mid-block on West Florabraska on the south side. It was an empty, vacant lot, mostly overgrown with grass. And upon approaching it, I immediately observed the female victim lying on her right side, about 5 to 6 feet from the roadway on the empty lot.
Okay. How did she appear?
She was lying still. Upon approaching her, I did not observe any signs of life. I did not observe any chest rise or fall. She had glassy, fixed eyes. At that point, she appeared to have been deceased to me.
Okay. Did you observe any injury?
I did.
Can you describe that to us?
Yes. So she was lying on her right side with her arms kind of curled in, and I observed there to be a wound on the back left side of her head.
Okay. And did you observe any blood at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you do anything to manipulate the crime scene?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you see Eric Walker or Terry Maddox do anything to manipulate or change the crime scene?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did Eric Walker stay for further interviews?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Did you speak with him further?
Yes.
And did you have your body-worn camera on at the time?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And was it activated?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And to your knowledge, when law enforcement have their body-worn cameras and they're activated and used, is that something that is in discovery also disclosed to the defense?
Yes.
Okay. And your body-worn camera was preserved, is that
Yes, it
correct?
was.
Okay. And to your knowledge, it was also disclosed to the defense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in that time, did you interview Eric Walker?
Yes, I did.
Did he answer all your questions?
Yes, he did.
Was it recorded via your body-worn camera?
Yes, it was.
While you are at the scene, does he still stay there waiting for other officers?
Yes, he did.
And to your knowledge, did he stay and was he interviewed by other officers?
Yes.
How about Terry Maddox, this other person who provided the phone?
Yes, she remained as well.
And was she interviewed as well?
She was.
By you?
Yes.
Okay. Was she interviewed after that by other detectives, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, yes, she was.
Okay. Now, while you are there, does another individual come to the crime scene to provide you with information?
Yes.
Who is that person?
That was Mr. Warren.
Is it Alan Wallace?
I'm sorry, Wallace. Yes, that would be
Okay.
correct. My apologies.
Does that help refresh your memory?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And when you come in contact with this individual, does he volunteer information to you, or is it a situation where you go and have to knock on his door to provide you with information?
No, he volunteered information. He approached me when I was standing by my vehicle.
Okay. And did you ask him questions?
I did.
Was he completely cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. And was the interview with Alan Wallace documented via your body-worn camera?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, after these interviews, did you interview anyone else?
No.
Did you stay at the crime scene?
Yes, I did.
Did you do anything to preserve the integrity of the crime scene?
Yes.
What is it that you did?
So I remained on scene. I blocked the entrance onto Nebraska for vehicle traffic, so nobody could come in or out of the crime scene.
Okay. At some point, quickly after you got to the scene, was crime scene tape put it up?
Yes, it was.
What's the purpose of that?
So the purpose of that is just to delineate our perimeter, so that way the public knows that this area is off limits. It's to assist us in keeping people out of the crime scene to preserve the evidence.
Okay. And at some point, to your knowledge, did other detectives, crime scene investigators also come to the scene?
Yes, they did.
And did they take over at that point, processing the scene, documenting the scene accordingly?
Yes.
Did you have any further involvement that day?
No.
Did you have any further involvement later on?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, may I have a moment? Ma'am, I'm showing you what is in evidence as State Exhibit A1. Is this an accurate depiction of the location you responded to?
Yes.
Okay. State Exhibit A7. Is this the condition of the body when you came upon it?
Yes.
Okay. And is it safe to say, State Exhibit A8, you did not put these crime scene markers down,
No.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But while you're there, other law enforcement officers come, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And is it customary to document the scene accordingly and to put evidence markers?
Yes.
Okay. One moment, please. No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Thank you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
You were the first officer on scene, is that correct?
Yes.
Obviously, you do not know and you cannot control what happens to the scene prior to you getting there. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
So if anyone was walking around, moved anything, touched anything, took anything away, you would have no knowledge of that.
Correct.
Okay. Now, after you get to the scene, obviously, you make some efforts and your fellow officers make some efforts to ensure no one else is in the area.
Yes.
But when you got there, there were at least 2 people there, those people being Eric Walker and Terry Maddox.
Yes.
And the deceased was located sort of in an empty lot, but there are houses surrounding that lot, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Across the street, next door.
Yes.
This is sort of a lot that's been cleared, maybe to build on or to something like that.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, nothing else. Thank you, ma'am.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Say call your next witness.
Still called Deputy Mark Montano.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you, sir.
This way.
Counsel, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Deputy, if you can please state your full name and spell your last name for the record, please.
My name is Mark Montano, spelled M-O-N-T-A-N-O.
And how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office,
How long have you been working with the Sheriff's Office?
just under 26 years.
All right. And in what capacity are you currently working with the Sheriff's Office?
My current job title is a digital evidence analyst, working in a discipline of forensic video analysis.
All right. Prior to that, what was your other work with the Sheriff's Office?
I started with the Sheriff's Office in 1999, working as a patrol deputy and detective.
All right. Now, if you can explain to the jury, what is forensic video analysis?
Forensic video analysis is the scientific examination, comparison, or evaluation of video in legal matters.
All right, and so can you tell the jury what exactly you do in the capacity that you serve for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
Sure. I respond to major crime scenes to assist detectives with recovering video surveillance and other digital evidence from crime scenes.
All right. Now, you work for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. This is a case that involves the Tampa Police Department. Do you sometimes work with them?
I do. On occasion, I'm requested to assist other agencies as well.
And you have no problem doing that? There's no conflict with the Sheriff's Office to assist other law enforcement agencies?
No, sir.
All right. Can you briefly summarize the training and experience you have that allows you to do what you do with the Sheriff's Office?
Sure. In addition to attending security conferences for approximately 10 years, I've sought certification and training for a few entities, one being the Law Enforcement Emergency Video Association. They offer a certification for different levels of forensic video analysis. I'm also certified through an organization referred to as NATIA, which is the National Association of Technical Investigators, where I've also obtained a certification for that as well. I've attended an entity referred to as a FLETC, which is a Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, in terms of recovering evidence from CCTV systems and otherwise.
Okay, so it's safe to say you're very knowledgeable in how to obtain videos, how to calculate the times on the videos, and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, can you explain to the jury how you first became involved in this case?
Sure. On May 6th, I was requested by Detective Weiland with the Tampa Police Department to assist them in recovering video surveillance from a scene where they were working a homicide investigation.
All right. And did you, in fact, go to that scene?
I did.
And did you, was there any particular location you went to look for a video camera?
I went to 3000 North Highland Lane. It was a residence.
Okay. And did you meet with the owner of the residence?
I did.
Okay. And what did you do when you got to that residence?
The owner allowed us entry into the residence to review their camera system that they had.
All right. And tell me about their camera system. What camera system did they have? Do you recall?
I don't recall the exact brand, but they had a camera system that encompassed 8 camera views, primarily on the exterior of the residence, which included 2 views at a minimum of the front of the residence.
All right. And did any of those views offer or at least appear to go towards the area where the victim had been located in this case?
Two of the cameras specifically seemed to point in a direction where the Tampa Police Department was conducting their homicide investigation.
All right. And were you able to download any video from that location?
I was.
All right. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 7 for identification. Do you recognize what that is?
I do.
And what is that?
This is a camera angle that was of video footage from a camera angle from the front of the residence.
All right. And did you, in fact, recover that video?
I did.
And did this video fairly and accurately depict what it shows in that video?
There's one thing I'd like to add to this video. There's a time differential in that video that was also established upon looking at and reviewing the system, and from my memory it's about 7 minutes and 55 seconds behind the actual time.
Okay, explain to the jury how you do that. What does that mean?
So most of these camera systems have a date and time stamp, and we've probably all seen it in the news before, or on TV or otherwise, or even on our own personal systems. Not all the time are these systems configured to be exact in the way that it embeds the date and time stamp, meaning there might be some delay, there might be some offset, and this is very common. So it's important to establish the date and time differential using what I refer to as U.S. Naval Observatory time, which is a standard used for reference in establishing that.
All right. And so with this particular video in State's Exhibit number 7 from 3000 North Highland Avenue, you did find that there was some differential between the actual time and what the time says on the recording.
That's correct.
And what was that differential again?
By memory, I'd like to say it's 7 minutes and 55 seconds behind.
Behind?
Yes. So
if it says on this that it was the car turns down the way around 3 o'clock, it was actually 3:07 on actual time, 3:07:55.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to be clear about that. Judge, would move State's Exhibit number 7 into evidence.
No objection. It will be admitted without objection to State 7.
And Judge, may I publish at this time?
Thank you.
Now, while this is playing real quick, Deputy, the time here now shows 00-02-26. What time is that actually?
I'm not so good at doing this on the stand, to be honest with you. but it would be the reference that I made minus what the current time is.
Okay, but that's much earlier in the night. Would that from when this allegedly occurs, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So I'm going to. So when you downloaded a significant time period. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And when you recorded this, you recorded basically what you downloaded on that day. Would that be accurate?
That's correct.
All right. So I'm going to fast forward here. Now we're at 2:59 and 19 seconds. So that's 2 a.m. or almost 3 a.m. But you're saying this is 7 minutes and 55 seconds back, so that's really closer to 3:08, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that's when we see the vehicle come down that road?
Yes, sir.
And while this is going, Detective, this was the view from that house at 3000 North Highland where you obtained this video, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're now at, according to the timestamp on this, 3 o'clock, but that would be 3:07 and 55 seconds.
Approximately.
Approximately. Now, Detective, there is what appears to be like a white, bright kind of line coming down. Do you know what that was?
I can't tell you what exactly it was, but from my experience, that's typically indicative of a spider web. Okay. on the camera.
So if a spider web comes across the camera lens, it will pick up that reflecting light off the spider web?
It will reflect, precisely, it will reflect the IR light of the camera.
Okay. Now, Detective, were you asked to respond to any other locations while you were assisting in this investigation?
I was.
And where else did you respond to?
I also responded to the Radiant Church located at 3205 North Boulevard.
Now, is this area somewhat close to the location of where the shooting occurred?
From my recollection, it was somewhere in the vicinity, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And were you able to download video from that location?
I was.
And were you able to find video that demonstrated a vehicle that matched the kind of description of the vehicle that we had just seen?
I did.
Objection calls for hearsay.
I'm sorry, you can say that?
I did.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 11 for identification. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And how do you recognize it?
Those are my initials.
Okay. And did you in fact put this CD together for the office?
I did. Yes, sir.
And does it fairly and accurately depict what you were able to download on that day?
It does.
All right, Judge, moved to have State's Exhibit number 11 admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
State's 11 will be admitted without objection.
And move to publish.
Granted.
Deputy, on this video, do you recall, was the time correct on this video?
No, sir, it was not.
Okay, what was the time differential on this video?
From my recollection right now, it was about 10 minutes and 47 seconds faster than U.S. Naval Observatory time.
Okay. All right, so hold on, let me go back here. Do you recall what the time was on this video when you downloaded it?
So placed on the disk are actually two different files. One of the files plays with the player that you're utilizing now. The other file plays with a proprietary software that allows you to actually see the time in the video.
Okay. And do you recall what the time was?
It's somewhere in the vicinity of 3 a.m. Onward. I don't recall the exact time.
This application wouldn't change it, would it?
No, sir.
So this is what we would have to rely on?
Yes, sir. I believe the application opened in the background if you minimize that one.
Okay. But either way, your recollection is that it was around 3 a.m. that you captured that car coming by?
Yes, sir. And if you'd expand that window there.
Expand this window?
Yes, sir. The reference of time is given there at the bottom
I see it
as
right
being
down here where it says
3:21.
3:21?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's back up a little bit. And you indicated that 3:21 is how much, what was the time differential? What was it off?
By memory, I'd like to say it's 10 minutes and 47 seconds.
Fast or slow?
Faster.
So, I'm not good with math either, but we're talking about around 3:10 a.m., basically.
Approximately, yes.
Okay. Deputy, were you asked to do anything else in this case?
I was.
And what was that?
Detective Weiland reached out to me and requested that I put a timeline compilation together of the videos that were collected in this case.
All right, and did you do that?
I did.
All right, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 19. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
I recognize my initials on the right-hand corner there.
And what is this a video of?
It's a timeline compilation of several videos that were acquired or recovered during the investigation, to include the last two that we just viewed.
And does this video fairly and accurately depict the combination of all the videos that you recovered on that day with reference to this vehicle?
Yes.
All right. Judge, moved to have State's Exhibit number 19 admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
Can we approach?
Yes.
All right, Deputy, and other than what you've done as far as downloading these videos and creating this combination video with all of the other videos that have been were obtained, did you do anything else in this case?
No, sir.
All right, Judge, I have no further questions of Deputy Montano.
Good morning, Mr. Montano.
Good morning, ma'am.
You said you've been doing the digital evidence for how long with the sheriff's office?
Approximately 8 years.
Okay, and you said prior to that you worked as a patrol and then worked your way up and was a detective?
Yes, ma'am.
Before you got into the forensic side of it with the video evidence?
That's correct.
So you've had familiarity with conducting investigations, writing reports, things of that nature?
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, in reference to the investigation in Mr. Walker's case, did you ever author any kind of report related to what you did in the case?
Outside of email correspondences, my report is essentially limited to the photographs that are taken during the time of acquisition of the systems and whatnot.
What does that mean?
Essentially, during the assessment and collection of this video, there's things that are memorialized in the way of screenshots that will reference the date and time that I was at a location and whatnot. All the same things that would be in the report.
And are those part of the case file?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And do you write down or author anything related to what video you actually collected, what time frame you collected, and what the time differential might be?
So all that's memorialized in those screenshots as well.
But you don't author a report related to that?
The report would simply reference the same thing that the photographs do.
Did you review any of those photographs prior to today?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Okay, because when you were testifying earlier about the time differential in some of the video, including like the North Highland Lane, you said by memory.
Yes.
So were you referencing anything on the exact time differential between what the actual time is and what the time is reflected in the video surveillance?
Yes.
And what was that for the North Highland Lane?
Again, by memory, I'd like to say it's, and I'd have to refer to that screenshot as well, which accurately references the exact time differential. I'd have to refer to that again, but I believe it was approximately 7 minutes and 55 seconds.
But you're not
behind.
sure that's exact?
I'm fairly confident, but I'm not exact without referencing it again.
Okay, and you don't have that screenshot with you?
I may. It may be in a computer file.
Okay, but not with you while you're there on the stand?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And when you go to collect this evidence, this is a different law enforcement agency that you're assisting with, right?
Yes.
And so when you go out, you're not involved in the actual investigation of the case itself.
No, ma'am.
So as far as identifying any kind of suspect vehicle, what may have happened to a decedent, anything of that nature, you're not involved in that.
That's correct.
And you're not involved in that really when you get involved in cases for the sheriff's office either, typically.
To answer your question, I generally am responding out there to acquire the evidence and not necessarily analyze it or review it unless requested to do so.
Okay. And in this case, you weren't requested to do any analyzing of the video evidence.
I would ask that you narrow the question to what type of analyzing.
Will you tell me, what analyzing did you do of the video at 3000 North Highland Lane?
In terms of the video, I mean, analysis can go on infinitely. So essentially my involvement was limited to establishing how many cameras were connected to the system, the date and time of the system, how I was recording.
Okay, if it functions.
If what functions, I'm sorry.
The cameras, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If the cameras function and what those cameras capture.
Yes.
Okay, and that isn't anything that you need any specific training on. It's just basically you looking at what the camera system displays.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Okay, when you go into someone's house, are you looking at what their camera system shows you?
Yes.
Okay, and you're able to do that when they show you what their cameras collect, right? What angle it is?
Typically, I'm the one navigating the system.
Okay, so you're navigating the system for the homeowner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the homeowner doesn't know what angles the camera captures?
I can't testify to that today. I would imagine they do. It's their system. But.
Okay. Do you have any conversation with the homeowner, like at 3000 North Highland Lane?
Outside of requesting permission to access the device, no, because my involvement is limited to the device and the functionality of the device.
And you said at that North Highland Lane there were 8 camera views, but you only collected the camera views of the 2 from the front of the residence. Is that correct?
I collected more, but those were the only views that displayed the area where the investigation was being conducted.
Okay, so you collected views from all 8.
I'm inclined to say so.
Okay. Do you know that for sure?
Not without referencing. I will say this. I will say that, yes, I did collect all 8, going back to my memory, to answer your question.
Okay, but you don't write any report saying you collect it from all 8?
No, again, it's limited to the screenshots, which essentially illustrate the same thing.
Okay. And when the state was asking you about the view from that video surveillance at North Highland Lane, you said what was shown in the video is typical of a spider web. Did you actually go out and physically look at the camera at all?
I'm sure I did at some point, but I didn't get so close to notate that it was in fact a spider web.
Do you all take any photographs of the cameras or the camera angles from where you're capturing?
Yes.
And when the state was asking you about the time frame and you said you're not good doing this on the stand, you're talking about subtracting or adding from what the timestamp you're seeing on the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so when you're talking about what the relevant time frame is in the case, since you're not conducting the investigation, you're leaning on what the detectives are telling you is the relevant time frame. Is that right?
That's correct.
And typically what you all do is you collect a time frame before their target time and a time frame after, correct?
Yes, ma'am. By standard practice, I typically will go and recover. I typically will put a buffer of. It really depends on the case, but and what's being told to me at that time. Sometimes if it's 5 minutes, sometimes I might add 5 at the front and 5 at the back to really compensate for a time differential.
Okay, and in this case, in the Highland, the 3000 North Highland Lane, do you know what time frame you collected?
I'm inclined to say from about midnight to when the Tampa Police Department's response was to the scene.
Do you know that for sure?
Yes.
Okay. And then the 3205 North Boulevard, the Radiant Church as well. Like these locations that you're going to, these are identified by the investigators that are investigating the case, and then you're just called out to that specific location.
That's correct.
You're not yourself walking the neighborhood and looking to see where cameras are.
Sometimes I do, but not in this instance.
Okay. And so when you go to that North Boulevard, the 3205 North Boulevard that we saw in States 11, same thing. You said it was a time differential of 10 minutes and 47 seconds. The camera was faster than what the actual time frame is.
Approximately.
Okay. Are you involved in doing any kind of enhancement to any of these videos to be able to see anything clearer?
On occasion, that's requested, yes.
Was that requested in this case for any of the video that you observed?
It was requested, and essentially to review it during the process of reviewing it, and that could actually be done utilizing this a standard player here, where it allows you to essentially zoom in a little bit.
Okay. So other than being able to zoom in, was there anything else that you did to enhance any of the video?
Not that I can recall right now, no.
If I could have one moment.
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
Yes, sir. And Deputy, other than the zooming, nobody asked you or to enhance any videos, correct?
No, sir.
All right. Deputy, in preparation for your testimony today, did you send me an email kind of outlining some of the stuff you did or the stuff you did?
Yes.
Correct? And if I show you that, would that maybe refresh your recollection as to the exact time differential there was from that 3000 North Highland video?
It would.
Okay.
I wonder if we could just see what he's showing
Yeah.
the witness.
If I could read to the court,
No, you don't need to read it. I'm just asking, does that refresh your recollection?
it does.
Okay. And Deputy, now that your recollection is refreshed, what was the exact time differential?
I'm sorry, can I say it one more time?
Yes.
It's 7 minutes and 55 seconds behind for the address of 3000 Highland Lane.
So that's what you had testified to earlier. So that's what you wrote down. That's what you recall. It is 7 minutes and 55 seconds behind.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. I don't need further questions.
May this witness be excused?
No objection to that.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Call your next witness.
This time the state would call Alan Wallace. Your Honor, may we break?
Yes.